Hi. Hello. There we go. Look at that. We did it. We did. Fantastic.
Yay, it works.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Roll Plus Bond's second annual stream, and welcome to the beginning of day 3. This is the final third of the stream. We have 6 more games coming up over the next 24 hours, and we're kicking off with Full of Magic shortly. I'm Hugh. My pronouns are they, them. You can find me whenever you get your internet, which is, I guess, Twitter and Instagram. I'm a bourgeoisie risk, and I'm streaming today from the unceded traditional territories of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh people on the west coast of Turtle Island. Before we get into the game, I just want to take a quick second to talk about the cause we're raising funds for this year, which is the Native American Rights Fund. Founded in 1970, the NARF is the largest and oldest nonprofit focused on Native American rights in the United States. They focus their legal efforts on 5 main areas: the preservation of tribal existence, protection of natural resources, promotion of Native American human rights, government accountability, and development of and education about Native American legal issues. For more information, please visit www.narf.org or check them out on Twitter at ndnrights. In the past 12 months, we've seen wildfires raging across the globe, oil spills, pipeline spills, deforestation, workers' camps putting communities at risk. We've seen recommitment to ecologically disastrous dam building projects just today. We've seen reservations who have been with boil water advisories for decades, ongoing apathy towards murdered, missing Indigenous women, Two-Spirit people, and just all-round continued state-sanctioned violence against Indigenous people, their lands, and ways of life. And for those of us living as settlers on Native land, we should be thinking every day about how we can best facilitate and advocate for the return of stewardship and sovereignty to Indigenous people. How are we showing up? How are we listening to and supporting Canadian causes? How are we contributing to and benefiting from the long-term implementation and legacy of colonialism? And how can we resist it and redirect funds and energy to people who have been most negatively affected by said systems? Land back, decolonization are really easy buzzwords for us to pick up on and rally behind, but appropriating those terms without making material changes to our ways of living and giving ultimately mean nothing and threaten to declaw vital movements that can heal our planet, our communities, and each other. So please, if you have some cash to spare, head over to donate.rollplusbond.com and give what you can. And remember also that continued small amounts of reparations every month for life add up in real ways. Don't feel like you have to just give one big amount. Know whose land you're on, learn how to contribute, listen to Native people, and show up when and how they ask us to. Be generous with your time, with energy, with funds, with ourselves, and with each other as we keep learning, growing, caring, and fighting. That link again, donate.rollplusbond.com. Thanks. And now into the game. So for the next 4 hours or so, we're going to be playing Full of Magic by Russ Cowman. We'll be using his expansion for the game, Songs from the Accent Fiddle, to tell some shorter stories in the world of Full of Magic, rather than exploring the base journey of the Magus. And today I'm really lucky to be joined by, I'm just going to introduce you in alphabetical order if you want to give us your introduction, your pronouns, and your social media if you are interested in that. I have Ali.
Yeah, I'm Ali. I use he, they pronouns. My Twitter is at Muddy Hughes. The land that I live on, unfortunately, would kind of put my location out there in a pretty big way. But I acknowledge that I'm living on native land.
I have Alice.
Yes, hi. I'm Alice. If you want to, if you want to distinguish me from the myriad of other Alices out there, you can call me Alice Utopia. I go by she/they pronouns. I live in the Netherlands, so I don't live on native land, but my country contributed pretty greatly to the settlement. So,
Great. And Zoe.
Yes, I'm Zoe. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm here in the Suquamish native land. So good to be with us all here.
Mm-hmm. Thanks also to Adam, who is graciously our stream host for the game. And also, I just wanted to give a huge shout out to Cole, Adam, Chris, Adela, Devin, Kai, Zero, Alice, Clouds, everyone over at Roll Plus Bond for making such an awesome community, and for everyone who's just worked their butts off doing organizing, tech, chat mods, graphic design, and everything for the stream. Like it's so cool to get to do this as often as I do, and the Roll Plus Bond server is just the best. I love it. Love everyone there. Everyone's just good people. Okay, we're not going to go over all the rules of Full of Magic on stream, but I've posted a couple of bits on the bottom of our Roll20 page to read over. Are people comfortable reading aloud? If we like go in a little circle?
Yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
absolutely.
Cool. Does anyone
Where
want to take?
exactly did you put this?
So they should just be, if you just scroll down to the bottom of this page, it should start with About Story Games.
Yeah, I can start in alphabetical order.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, about story games. Before we begin, there are some things that we should all understand. Pass the book around and read each of these out loud. Afterwards, make up space to see if there's anything the group would like to clarify or discuss. It's like or should I pass it off to the next
Sure, if you
person?
want to keep going.
Okay. It's like a conversation. A good game session should give you that feeling of enrichment and connection, like a good conversation. And all those same rules apply about being a good and all those same rules about being a good conservationist apply. Listen, ask questions, bear witness to things that your fellow players and that to the things that inspire your fellow players, and let us know what inspires you.
Think small.
Oh, you can.
Sorry.
Okay.
Think small. When it is time to make something up, think small and don't plan too far ahead. Let the story be a wondrous beast we chase but never capture. Ask questions with no clear answer, raise conflicts with no ready solution. By letting go, the story we find together will be more profound than anything you might have planned alone.
Social fantasy. Fall of Magic is social because play centers around characters, relationships, and exploration of culture. It is fantasy because things are possible that are not possible in our daily lives. This world will come to life if we treat the characters like they were alive. Make them diverse, nuanced, and sometimes contradictory. Use the space to reimagine and explore without the restrictions and stereotypes around race, class, and gender that we experience outside of the game.
Safety first. Lastly, your emotional safety is more important than any game. So if something comes up in the story or at the table that makes you feel uncomfortable or is ruining your fun, let us know. We can change that detail, fade to black, or take a break if needed. Likewise, check in with your fellow players before introducing an element to the story that you know might be difficult or triggering.
Should I read some of the good ideas?
Sure, yeah. Do you want to?
Good ideas are to start with a physical description of the place. Use touch, smell, or taste in your description. Ask lots of questions. What does the rose garden look like? Or what is going on at the bridge right now? Leave plenty of space for quieter players to speak. Speak in character. Ask someone to play a part of your scene, like a fisherman, the wind, or a flock of birds. Describe a brief moment in detail. When you revisit a scene and show what has changed, skip ahead to the part that interests you. Go back to something interesting we skipped, and finally ask for ideas.
Awesome. And I'm just going to read this section about the chorus because this is a new rule that was introduced in the songs from the Axe and Fiddle. So the chorus is a new kind of story prompt that may be used during any scene. It has two parts, a call and a response. The example here is from Song of the Fugitive, which I don't think we're going to be playing tonight, but the call, the Court of Swords has come for you. And then there's a response, which we would roll the dice for, a narrow escape, a new crime, or Song of the Fugitive. The call, during your turn, you may use this in place of a prompt printed on the map. A prompt in quotes is spoken aloud by a character in the scene. And the response, when you're done with the call, choose another player to describe the response. If there is a die roll to be made, hand that player the die. The chorus, you just kind of have to work it in. It's not always just as simple as like, oh, I'm just going to say this thing instead of the screen prompt. Sometimes it makes more sense to put it as part of the scene rather than as a replacement for the scene. So
Right.
yeah, just we will figure them out for each game that we're playing because they're all slightly different. And we are going to start today with the Song of the Machine, which has this introduction text. The machine is growing, and its hunger for knowledge grows with it. We are called to serve in the fortress of Karst, to teach it what we know. And so now we're each going to take a second to choose a name and our title. And whenever you feel good about those things, or if you want to make up your own name or your own title or anything, just, yeah, we can figure that out. If anyone's feeling drawn to anything in particular.
I would love to play a gargoyle of Cost.
Amazing.
I'm gonna be the first one to point out that Yeet is an optional name on here,
It's the
which
best.
I think is so good.
Has there ever been a better name?
I'm thinking of playing someone from the Sea of Salt. If we can also, people can have the same name and same title and stuff, so don't feel like.
Yeah, there's just so many interesting ones.
Yeah, I think I'm leaning towards Hanging City myself.
Nice.
Okay. Yeah, I'm kind of feeling drawn to the crown.
Mhm.
Like I'm on that. Should probably write everything down that we're doing because we gotta keep track of stuff.
Yeah. Do you know how to write in the Roll20? There's like the little paintbrush icon, and then if you scroll over that and go down, there's a text selector. We can
Yeah.
type those.
Where should we put those? Just on the side of the map here? Or?
Sure. Yeah. If you want to near where the tokens are somewhere, just so we can see them for reference.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take the name Twilight. It sounds sufficiently, ominous for a crown.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna take Ocean.
I think I'm going to play. I really want to play Yeet, the Dragger of the Hanging City. I think is a very fun name.
That's super good.
Get it?
Yes.
Plus, they gave me the option to play Yeet, so I have
Right?
to.
I'm gonna be the Admiral.
I have decided that my gargoyle is called Anne because I love the idea of a gargoyle with the most normal name possible.
Yeah, I love that.
Gotta find the proper text size here.
Mhm.
That's always the hard thing here.
There we go.
Oh, it's Anne with an E.
You gotta get in with me. I mean,
Yeah.
it's important.
It's sorry. It just occurred to me the relationship between the verb drag and yeet.
Particularly like, oh, this is really funny. I like drag and Yeet.
That's very strong together.
That's really good. Awesome. And then, yeah, if you have pronouns for the characters, but if you want to work those out in play, all good.
I'll just figure it out as I go.
Totally. Okay, so for this song, we're going to choose a token to represent the machine and place it on the Fortress of Karst. So which of our 5 tokens, which both have which all have two sides, do we think best represents the machine?
That's a good question.
I guess I honestly think like we could find a way to make any of these tokens the machine,
Totally.
But if we're like,
Yeah, you could think for the tree to like branch out and stuff. I was looking at the
that's
bird
very
for the
good.
search of. I was also looking at the bird for the search of knowledge and the egg for growing. You can think of any of
I
them.
was considering the candle as like illuminating, like
Yeah,
uncovering
that's what I was
knowledge.
Interesting.
I really like the tree though, with the very first sentence of the prompt here being "the machine is growing."
Yeah, that's
Okay.
true. Yeah.
Yeah. Do we want the
Yeah, and it's branching out in knowledge and stuff.
tree with
totally.
leaves or tree with no leaves?
No leaves.
No leaves.
Yeah, it's a
Okay.
machine.
Let's get into some themes here, people. I love it. Imagery.
Yeah.
That's easy. That's how you write stories. We're done. Everyone,
Did
good
it.
work. Pack it up.
Go on.
Great. And so now if everyone wants to pick a token that they think represents their character.
Yeah.
Great.
I would like to pick the candle, if I may.
Could someone help me understand what this gray one at the
Yeah,
top is?
that's like the sea with like birds flying over.
Oh, okay, I see. Okay.
Sun rays, I guess. And then the other side of it is a river. So I think it's like a watery kind of token.
Yeah.
I want to take the bird.
Mhm.
I kind of feel like maybe it's this riverbed here.
Nice. I think I'm gonna take the broken sword.
I think the reason that Anne is the candle is because she is literally just a statue meant to be a fancy candle holder.
Candelabra.
Yes.
Awesome. I think that the broken sword for me, I think that Ocean at one time was like the figurehead of a ship. And I think originally the figurehead had like outstretched arm with the sword like pointing out, and that's just like fully sheared off, snapped, and they're like rounded off like driftwood is.
Mm.
Very cool.
I think for yeet, the meaning of I should put it next to my name here.
Yeah.
The meaning of this riverbed here is like, I think there's someone who just chooses to go with the flow, no matter what life tosses at them, or what they toss at life, I guess.
Yeet me into the stream of life. That's what I
Yeah,
like.
yeet me into the stream of life.
I'm just always throwing stuff around. The life takes care of it though, so it's not a problem.
Yeah.
Lead me into the stream of life and then drag me under the waters of.
Drag me and yeet me. Those are the two action verbs I'm going to be using today.
I think that for Twilight, the bird is very much representative of just like being more comfortable in nature than with people around.
Mhm. Totally. Awesome. Okay, so we're gonna take it in turns. On your turn, you'll play as the machine. You can move the token to any scene within Karst and describe it to us from the perspective of the machine. And then, if you're not currently playing the machine, you can call the chorus. And when you do so, move your token to any scene in any location within the Deepway, and then describe that scene to us as a story told to the machine. The chorus, excuse me, we have a local custom, a beautiful vista, how they see the machine, or you can use the prompt on the map. And then whoever's playing the machine will, you can roll a dice if you just want to pick one of these. Also, like, please don't feel beholden to chance if you actually have a specific thing you're interested in. But if you want to roll the dice, we have a childlike question, a mechanical response, or song of the machine.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, if you're not playing the machine, you can do the chorus, and if you're playing the machine, you do the response. So that's how the the rules are for this particular song.
Cool.
Does anyone want to play the machine first? I'm happy to, if no one does.
Yes,
Yeah.
please do. I would like to
Please.
see how it goes before I
an example
understand it fully.
Okay,
helpful
totally.
for everyone.
Yeah. Okay, great. I'm gonna start with. I think I'm going Vote of the Builder. Are people okay with imagery related to? I'm thinking of like eggs, cracking eggs, the like shell breaking open. Is that a texture people are comfortable with?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, great. I'm looking at this illustration of these. If you're not on the stream, if you're listening to this later, just in audio, or you don't see the stream, the illustration provided for this game is like a big tower carved into a cliff face, and there are these big like mechanical digger-like arms and claws like spilling out of the machine of the tower. And I think what this image is this is very early in the life of the machine, but it's like the walls of the tower like literally cracking and falling away to reveal behind this kind of like I don't know what it's called. I want to say it's albumin, but I don't think it's that. It's like the membrane like under the shell, and then like pressing up against it like is
Ooh.
these like mechanical arms that are starting to like press against the like skin-like membrane and then push through, and the sections of the wall just start falling away to reveal that the entire tower is itself like a shell around this mechanical organic creature, the machine of Karst. And the first place we see this, the Vote of the Builder, this was like the office of the architect of the machine. I don't know that they have a name beyond the builder, but it's very much a sense like this was the like the nexus or something. I think it's like maybe even a desk or something is like where all these arms lead back to, and we just see the desk like tear open, and the shell of the wall is like falling away, and I think whoever is in the fortress like just hears these like noises of this machinery like pushing and pressing and tearing through this membrane and starting to like stretch out, and there's those like great like creaking mechanical sounds and like machinery that needs oiling. Like this is a very new machine that like hasn't been cared to, and it's like someone's going to need to get involved and deal with this machine, but it's starting to reach out.
Like the idea is that it's hatching, kind of.
Yeah, totally. The fear unearthed. I think it's just this sense of longing for the builder, almost like the fear that we're unearthing here is the fear of the machine, who feels they are being born into a world and do not have a parent. Like the builder is long since probably died or gone on elsewhere, and the machine is calling out for the builder, and there is no response. And I think that's the fear of the machine here.
Builder's absent. Yeah.
Yeah, this like being alone, I think right now is the fear, maybe, and that no one will care for the machine. Cool. Does anyone want
So now we can make a call.
Yes, please.
I kind of want to describe a beautiful vista. I'm just gonna move it over to where would that be? I feel like Dogtooth Jungle is like Dogtooth Spar specifically says an inspiring view, which I think is interesting.
Oh, does it not have to be in the same location as the Fortress of Karst?
No, it's anywhere on this map.
Oh.
Sorry, it says any location within the Deep Way. So this entire side of the map is the Deep Way, which is the
Okay, cool.
underground part of the map. So yeah, you can go to any of these locations.
Really cool.
And just to clarify, it's whatever this is like a scene from the character's perspective, or is it like
yeah, totally. So it's like you're using it to tell a story to the machine. So
right. I think
Yeah.
like the vista here, specifically like it mentions in the Dogtooth Jungle, there's this purple sun, which I think it's like this very alien forest kind of vibe. And it's just I I wonder if like Yeet this is a scene of Yeet like sitting over the edge of like a cliff and just like looking out, and you can see like there are blankets behind him and a long trail of string. Um and it goes off into the forest and we don't really see where that goes, but it's an image of I think Yeet is he, him, as I'm thinking about it. I think it's an image of him um, just kind of looking out, and there's this like hazy purple sun going over like the orange and blue branches of the jungle trees below, and birds fly by. I don't know that they're birds that we would recognize, but they have wings and they're in the air. So. The closest approximation is birds.
Good enough.
Totally. Okay, I'm gonna /r d6. Give me a dice roll. That's a 2. So here the response is a childlike question. I think the machine asks Yeet, did you bring me one of the birds?
Well, you can't really bring birds, can you?
But I wanted you to bring
Dragon.
me a bird.
The birds are their own thing. We can't just give birds like they're some sort of object.
I think that the machine like ruffles, like as if you're ruffling feathers, but like ruffling all these arms, and this like bristling goes through just the entire structure.
Yeah. I think like Yeet is just like you can coax a bird, we can coax a bird closer, but nobody owns the birds.
Yeah, I think that's super cool for a scene in and of itself.
Yeah.
Awesome. Did anyone else want to do the call, or did someone else want to play the machine?
I would love to do a call.
Totally.
I am going to do a call in the nest of the machine. The prompt for that is a beautiful dream. And I am going to do the how they see the machine call.
Mhm.
And I think this is Anne describing a dream she had of her own creation. And I think she describes like months of being of this weird hazy sort of consciousness where you sort of see things and hear things but you're not really aware, and it's from her perspective as she is actively being like carved out of the stone by by an artist. And the interesting and like the artist is sort of right in the middle of the view, out of focus, because she's not looking at the artist that is carving her. She is looking at what is happening behind the artist, because what is happening behind the artist is the builder making the original plans for the machine. And
Ooh.
she's talking to the machine about the way that she saw the builder just go through this process, and the dreams that the builder had for the machine, and all these plans and ideas and the frustrations and stuff. And I think there's probably a part in the middle where where she's half carved and the artist is gone, the sculptor is gone, and the builder actually walks over to Anne and kind of uses her like a programmer uses a rubber ducky to talk through some problems with the concept of the machine. And yeah, I think she describes that.
Awesome. I'm not going to roll because I have a specific question I want to ask, and so I'm going to use the childlike question again, which is the question the machine asks Anne is, what did the builder hope I would achieve?
I think Anne thinks about that for way too long, like 10, like sits there for 10 minutes thinking, and eventually says, "The builder hoped you would achieve your own hopes and dreams."
Awesome.
All right.
Yeah, totally. I don't think there's a further response from the machine to that. Sorry.
I'll do a call now. Want to go to Gritwater. I love this sunken hovel. A delicious smell. That's so cool. And I think we, see the crone at once ageless and ancient in a home that she's lived in for far too many years, so it is collapsing down around them, cooking over a fire in a cauldron. Nothing too crazy. Just some vegetable stew, and just relishing in the smells of this and the hominess of this, while at the same time behind him just the entire home, the hovel, the place where they live is completely destroyed. It's hardly even a place fit for habitation anymore, and yet here they still are, acting like it's a wonderful place to be with a wonderful meal to have.
Do we as viewers get the sense that that destruction, that sense of like destruction, is it's like, oh, is this just the living conditions of Twilight, or is there a sense that like someone else did this and Twilight has not acknowledged?
Yeah, I really like the idea that someone else has done this. I didn't think about that before, but I love that. So yes, let's do that. Someone else, someone else has done this. Someone else has caused this to happen, but Twilight is not even acknowledging it, not bothered by it, not really even looking at it or worrying about it. Has lived far too long, seen so many homes that she's lived in be destroyed. It's nothing new. Still have to make dinner.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Boy howdy. That feels real. Totally. Okay, I'm gonna roll for this. 4/R d6. It's a 3, so it's another question. The question is just, what's for dinner?
Well,
Oh man.
Well, for tonight, I have some rolls here, and I've created a nice. Sorry, my mouth is not working very well. I've made a nice side of lamb. I don't know if you can eat, but you're more than welcome to try.
I think one of these arms just like reaches out and it like goes over the plate and then just like retracts into the wall and the plate goes with it, and then it's just gone and there's no further explanation.
You don't usually
Delightful.
all right.
Mhm.
You
Plate and
did.
cutlery, it's all gone.
Okay. This is fine.
Okay, awesome. Great. Does someone else want to take a turn as the machine?
Yeah, I can take a turn as the machine.
Please.
I want to move the machine over into Salamander Shallows.
Hmm.
And the little thing they give us for Salamander Shallows is who needs your help. I think that specifically what we see is there's this kind of dilapidated town, kind of rough at the edges. Um, and the ground is this sort of mushy mud clay type of thing. But slowly we see come out of the ground is one of those arms that we saw kind of coming out of the fortress earlier that Hugh described. And it just kind of clambers out. And then something we see begins to pull the ground apart and kind of hatch from there. And I think the residents of Salamander Shallows, I think they might have some lizard-like qualities to them because Salamander is a fun. I like playing with Salamander. Um, Begin to gather and watch this machine grow.
Is there a sense that the residents need help because of the machine or need help from the machine?
I think it's more that they believe the machine will help them than it is like they want to be saved from the machine, you know?
Totally. Yeah.
Whether the machine does or not, I guess, is open to interpretation.
Uh-huh.
We have some more turn left to go, so we'll see, I guess.
Yeah. And I think, okay, so it does say to describe it from the perspective of the machine, which I think is interesting. I think the first thing that the machine sees is this group of people crowded around it. And I think that's sort of an overwhelming feeling for the machine. I don't know that it particularly it wants to grow, but I don't think it wants that attention. It doesn't want that sort of reverence.
Mhm. Nice. Does anyone want to do a call?
Yeah, I'll do one. I think I will go to the War Machine, where the prompt is a battle yet to come. And I think the call is a beautiful vista,
Oh,
but I think this is uh, Anne talking about the view that she had in the past of a whole, like a contingent of warriors that she was sort of like standing behind, but the warriors are all other gargoyles of karst, and on the other side of like a whole vista full of this sea of salt are these camps of another army who have gathered to try and destroy the machine before it hatches because they
ooh.
fear it. And even though this story is about a battle that happened in the past, I think Anne very much frames it as a thing that happens every now and then, as these like peoples gather to try and destroy it, and they are beaten back, and every time there are less and less gargoyles, and they forget about the campaign to try and destroy the machine, and they forget about the machine, and
Was
then it starts over.
Is there a
Mhm.
particular reason why they seek to destroy the machine, or do we not know that?
I think no, I think we don't know. There's just something about it that makes people fear it sometimes.
Mm-hmm. It's scary, yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and roll a response for this one. Oh, if Roll20 will let me type. There we go. Oh, another 3. A childlike question. We've got a real childlike machine today.
Questions
Mhm.
only.
Yeah.
Machinist baby.
I think the machine's question is, why do they gather?
Hmm. People gather because they need something. In this case, they gathered because they needed freedom from fear.
Um, I think the machine has there is deep within the sort of recesses of this earth, there is a groaning noise. I think that's the response.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to do a call from the celebration fires. I want to use the call, a local custom. And I think the celebration fires, like what we see are people gathered around. I think it's really, really smoky fires. It's not big flame. It's just like the wood is of such a quality that it's just like it's not burning particularly warm and it's not burning particularly bright. It's just like releasing so much like smoke and carbon or whatever into the air, and it's like very thick. And we see one of these figures who is Ocean. They are, like I say, like a figurehead from a ship. If you ever saw the Jason and the Argonauts movie, I'm thinking of like the Hera figurehead that terrified me as a child. Um, that with like this like paint like coming away and like rounded wood edges, like I say, like driftwood, and like the paint stripped away, like very distressed. And the word gets back to them that the machine has finally been born, and people around the fire start to change what was just like a way to gather and be warm and be seen, becomes a celebration fire. And Ocean realizes that their responsibility as the admiral of the Sea of Salt is to pledge allegiance to the machine. Um, and realizing their sword is broken, has to find something else to present to the machine as a symbol of servitude. But they tell the machine the story of how they broke their sword. And it's, I don't think any of us know that this is true, but they tell the machine this great story of how they collaborated with their ship's captain who rammed another ship, and it was in this other ship that the sword like broke off, and this was the hole that like sunk that other ship originally.
Yeah.
That's a good story.
Very good story.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and roll a thing again. Oh, that's a 1. We keep getting questions. Love this.
It's a very
Love this.
inquisitive machine.
Yeah, it does want knowledge. So,
It's just baby.
why don't you just get a new sword?
Oh. That sword was gifted to me by the Gilded One of Astalia centuries ago. Um, when he first sent me out on the seas, he broke a bottle of it's not champagne. It's a bottle of something across the bow of my ship, and the the residues of that that liqueur stayed on that sword until the end of days, and so until my new commander, which in this case machine is going to be you, grants me a new weapon, I do not deign to choose one for myself.
Do you want another sword?
If it pleases you to give me a sword, but if there is another weapon you would have me wield, name it. I'm an expert in many martial matters.
I
That's
think.
Eminem. No, I'm not an expert in martial matters.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my god, I
I'm
never
really-
realized the pun of that name.
I'm really into Stan. It's my favorite album.
Please hand me your mom's spaghetti.
I think
Yeah.
there's a way this could be framed in which is very philosophical, but I don't think it means anything. What the machine hands you is a dinner plate, specifically a dinner plate from sorry, what was the name? From Twilight, yeah.
Mhm. I think we see Ocean strap it to their forearm as like a buckler, and they say, "A defensive position, very good, my liege."
And I think the machine. I'm happy with ending it there. If that's okay.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, please.
Okay, I have a call to do real quick. All right, I want to go to over here. Sea of Salt at rest. Who you miss. I want to combine that with how they see the machine. Twilight is at the shore of the Sea of Salt with a young man or a young woman or someone else that seems to change every time you see, and love is expressed, and tender hugs are given, and it becomes clear to the audience. I don't know if the machine gets this, but that Twilight is talking about many children that they have raised, that they have then also outlived, who have gone on and lived a perfectly normal life, and Twilight has watched them grow and watched them die, and this is also how he sees the machine, as a child that has been given to them and that they will help to raise and love and watch grow and eventually outlive.
So, just to get this clear, Twilight is like a caretaker?
Yeah, I mean, Twilight, I feel like, has played many roles in their life. They are.
That's one of them, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, sure, I did that sometimes, and I loved doing that when I did that. I think Twilight is just unfathomably old, and it comes across when she tells stories. It's the time gets all mixed up, the places get a little mixed up, the people get a little mixed up. There's just too many memories to really keep them all straight, but he still keeps them very close to his heart.
I think I kind of want to veer away from the childlike question response because I feel like we've done it a lot.
Yeah, that's
Could you help me understand what the Song of the Machine response is? Or is that just what it means to me?
Yeah, pretty much. It's what it means to you. If you think that's a very literal song, if you think it's a something that the machine itself is singing, or something that people sing about the machine, or it's a it might not be like an audio thing at all. Like
It
yeah.
could also be like the machine's opinion on the things. Because
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
a question and the question and the mechanical response are not, neither of them really feel like
This is what I think.
actually weighing in.
Mhm.
I was thinking I had two thoughts, one of which is like a lyric to a song that may or may that we can all add to, maybe if we come to that point. I mean, at
Totally.
the end, like, or maybe it's like an actual song that the people of Salamander Shallows have created as sort of a response to Twilight's story here. I don't know which one, if you guys feel strongly about either of those options.
I think any of that is great.
Mhm.
Yeah. I think that I'm going to go with this is a song that the people of Salamander Shallows have created. And this isn't really a direct response from the machine, I suppose, but it's a response in that the people believe that the machine is immortal. They believe that when everything ends, the machine will be the thing left standing,
Mhm.
Um, and this song is a sort of song of I'm trying to think what the themes are like fate and what it means to be a living thing,
Mhm.
and experiencing things in a way that the machine doesn't necessarily experience.
Mhm.
So I
Can I
think that
pitch?
yeah.
Sorry. There's a version of this song that people used to sing about Twilight, right? That after everything, Twilight would still be there. And
Yeah,
now they
like
sing
Yeah.
it about the machine.
There's like an old folk song, yeah, about the crone of Gritwater, but it almost is repurposed as a song of the machine. Not even repurposed, but like in the sense that Bob Dylan does a cover of like a really old country song or whatever. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Mhm.
this is just the current version of this song.
Yeah. It's a cover.
Twilight's just like, wait, I thought that song was about me. Okay.
Yeah.
Totally.
But yeah, I think that's what we get from the machine here.
Very strong.
Who wants to be the machine?
I'll machine it up.
Mhm.
Get it?
Okay, so the machine. I will move the machine to the vertical gardens. Temptation is the prompt there.
Ooh.
And I think one of the salamanders, after the song has been sung and the others disperse, one of the salamanders stays behind. And this one is covered in rags, and the salamander babbles at the machine and bows and gestures for the machine to follow them, and takes them all the way up the hanging city, which I imagine the machine sort of climbs the walls like a spider. Um,
I don't know. Have we talked about what like the anatomy of the machine as a moving body is?
do you want to?
I would um I mean, I wonder if that's something you since you're the machine right now, I want to leave that up to you
I
in a
feel
way.
like considering it is made of so many legs, it might be able to reconfigure itself into different shapes depending on what it needs.
Ooh, like it could be bipedal or like
Yeah,
insectoid. Yeah, I love that.
I think at the moment it is kind of, I think as it approaches the like walls of the cave, it is sort of ant-like, and then it starts to make its way up the wall and like as its front end starts to make its way up the wall, the back end stays on the ground until it is elongated, like almost like a millipede, and then it finally starts snaking its way up the walls until
Gosh.
it finally joins the salamander in the vertical gardens.
This is both one
And
of the most beautiful and the most like unsettling things I've ever heard.
Thank you for that.
you're welcome. I think there's like a site where as the machine makes its way up this wall, you can see sort of like the quality of the light and the vista change as it gets both as like the general atmosphere gets darker and darker, but at the same time more and more of the like enormous cavern is visible to the machine as sort of like an interesting oversight. And I think this is the first time since leaving its own fortress that it has had such a good view of everything surrounding it. But they finally make their way to the vertical gardens. And I think the temptation that awaits there is that I think these gardens are full of knowledge. I'm imagining these are, I mean, I don't know what the vertical gardens have been in any other game, but I think in this game, the vertical gardens are literally gardens of books. There's just all of these trees, and hanging from all of these trees are these strings of books tied together. And I think the temptation here is that the machine looks upon this and sees all of these books and knows that there is so much knowledge in all of it, and it could very easily, with its many limbs, snatch all of those up and cut them off the branches and devour them both literally and figuratively. But to do so would destroy the place.
Huh. I love it. I love this. I love again this bear tree token as well.
Yeah.
Great choice. Chef kiss, everyone.
It's a very easy way to put some leaves up that tree. But you would be removing the leaves from some other trees.
Yeah. I've got an idea here for a call. I need to wait. I should figure out where I want this to take place first. This is going to happen in Kettlebottom. Kettlebottom's call here, or prompt here, is a dirty job. I didn't really talk about it last time, but I'm kind of thinking as a reference for Heat is Quasimodo from The Hunchback of Notre Dame. This kind of hunchbacked figure, maybe a little disfigured in some ways, but he's always got an optimistic attitude. And we see that there is a string tied around his left calf, and it's taut. But he is at the bottom of this, I guess the kettle bottom of the Hanging City, where there's a small cropping of trees and kind of rocky earth, hard to the touch. But there are, as we would even know them, deer down there. And he has been following tracks all day, trying to hunt this down, get some food. And I should also mention the string around his leg. It's so impossibly long, we can't see where it reaches to. But he sees this family of deer, and there is a smaller deer and two smaller deers, and two smaller deer, and two larger deer. And there's a moment he has a bow in his hands, and there's a moment where he almost takes out the no, I'm gonna retcon a little bit because it makes more sense this way. There are two smaller deer and one larger deer, and we can see that the larger deer is a doe by its lack of horn antlers. And there's a moment where he considers shooting the doe, but in his mind he doesn't, because that doe to him represents more deer next season, or the opportunity to have a better season next year. As a sort of method of preservation.
I am going to roll for the response. 1. A childlike question.
Time to be.
It's still baby time.
The machine has shifted into baby mode.
I think the machine, you hear the whirring of smaller limbs in the depths of the machine as they move and move against themselves, and it is obviously thinking. And after a bit, it says, do you think that you actually helped them? Or did you just deny yourself a meal?
I love when my children ask me the question. Did you deny yourself?
Did you? No, I mean, I guess if we're thinking about a childlike question from a machine, maybe that's childlike, right?
Yeah, no, totally. I think this like amorality is a really interesting thing for sure.
Yeah. I think Yeet's response is, sometimes I'm trying to think of a way to word this that isn't like a dad analogy, like teach. Maybe he's a dad analogy kind of guy, like teach a man to give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. Teach a man to fish, and we'll eat. I don't remember how the rest of that quote goes, but it's like, you know, sometimes you've got to let things be, and that's the better option for yourself.
Why? How do you decide when to let things be and when not to?
There is a context where you've got to understand how things. I'm trying to think about a good response here. You need to be able. It's important to understand that a harvest must happen. You can't grow and not reap. But you've got to know when the season is right.
I'm considering whether to be very adolescent with the next question, as in like less childlike question and more rebellious teen-like question. I think I'm gonna go for it.
Yes.
Why don't you let me be?
Ooh. Oh, we got a rebellious one here, huh? And I think Yeet just kind of like, I don't know what form the machine has taken, now, but I think this is just like Yeet has like a massive kind of hairy hand that they just kind of like ruffle the machine. And it's not as pleasant as ruffling hair because it's metal, but there's a human kind of element there that I think um, maybe Yeet wants to bestow on the machine.
I don't think it has any further questions.
Awesome. Okay, I think we're gonna take a 5-minute break here because we just passed 10 o'clock. So yeah, let's take 5, and then we'll meet back up and continue to explore the machine's life.
Sounds good.
All right, perfect. Perfect. Hello, hi, hello, everyone. Welcome back. This is the second annual Roll Plus Bond stream. We are this weekend raising money for the Native American Rights Fund. If you have spare funds and would like to contribute, you can head over to donate.rollplusbond.com. And help us raise some funds there. We'd really appreciate it. Okay, we are jumping back into our game of Full of Magic. We just before the break wrapped up Eat's story about the deers to the machine, and let's pick back up. I think I have a call for Ocean.
Mm-hmm.
I want to go to the Fruiting Groves. A dangerous medicine. So this little leaf symbol in Full of Magic is a change. So when you do scenes with this little symbol, you change a facet of your character. So that could be traits, it could be your name, it could be your title, or it could be where you're from. So here, I think this is like a little bit of a time skip in some ways. We are technically like location-wise, we're in the Sea of Salt, I think, and we see the machine is rusting. Exposure to sea salt and metal do not go together super well, and there's some corrosion affecting the machine. And I don't know if the machine feels pain or if this hurts, but I think what we get is Ocean talking through ways to look after the physical body, and comparing themselves as a wooden person who doesn't heal to the machine, and working on the assumption that the machine also needs repair and maintenance, as opposed to having a healing system. Then Ocean, is explaining like their own process for that, and has retrieved from the Dogtooth jungle. It's good. I think it's mushrooms. Just looking at this illustration of the Dogtooth jungle, there's these kind of like shapes at the floor level, and I think these are mushrooms. And Ocean has been distilling a liquid from these mushrooms, and we see like a big still, like many mushrooms going in and a very small number of drops of this particular liquid coming out. And as Ocean is applying it to the machine, we see their paint like stripping away even more to reveal just the wood underneath, and all the varnish is all the colors of this boat paint are being stripped away to reveal just this wood underneath. That's why this medicine is so dangerous, but it does take care of the rust on the machine. So I'm going to change from being the Admiral of the Sea of Salt to being the machine's Admiral.
Ooh. Okay.
That's a spicy move.
I am going to roll for a response.
Good to see it.
A 3 again. This machine very baby.
Only knows how to be a baby.
I think the machine asks, kind of like, some of these limbs kind of whir and move in almost like a pattern that seems almost like shivers going through the machine's body, and some of the limbs reach out and like touch Ocean on some of the like open the newly exposed wood, and the machine asks, "Doesn't that hurt?"
I think Ocean. I don't know that Ocean can fully emote. I think probably has a very fixed face, but I think just says to the machine, it is the responsibility of an admiral to sacrifice.
I think the machine grabs Ocean and puts and like in the very middle of the machine, a bunch of the limbs move apart to create sort of like a sheltered divot
Max,
that
Max.
like some of these limbs like kind of move to create almost like a cage, but it's a very protective cage, like it's a very protective gesture. And the machine deposits Ocean in the middle of that and then puts these limbs up to protect them from the apparently very scary mushrooms and tries to skitter away from this grove.
Awesome. That feels like scene.
Love
Sweet.
that.
I'm gonna get an exoskeleton. This rules.
Yeah, that's so good. Strong. Okay. I'm gonna move to the hanging commons. The prompt for that is how you fit in. And I feel like, I love this image of the hanging city. And the hanging commons I see as almost like a something between like a marketplace and a boardwalk, but suspended high up in the air. Um, and as you kind of look down over the edge, you can see, the bottom of this cavern that the hanging city is in is just completely dark. It's like an unknown depth down there. But up here at the commons level, it's everything is bright and cheery, and all sorts of people walking along these planks, the very boardwalk-esque planks, and Twilight is just sitting at a table and watching the people move past, and the the very obvious thing about the way that she fits in here is that she doesn't. These people have lives, they have goals, they have things that they want to complete. Twilight has done everything. Twilight has been everywhere, continues to live, continues to do their best, but um, there isn't much more for them to do. And I think there's a sense in which he's trying to tell this story to the machine in a way of being like, when you are very different from the others around you, this is what will happen, but that doesn't mean you have to be unhappy.
Okay. I'm very curious whether this is going to be another childlike question.
I mean,
Oh no, it's
aha!
not. Our very first not 1 to 3. Okay. Song of the Machine. I think that the machine mulls this over for a bit, and we hear the same sort of like mechanical whirring that is the machine thinking. And then the mechanical whirring turns kind of rhythmic, almost as if the machine is, well, sort of beatboxing for itself. And then there is a song that comes up over over the rhythmic whirring.
Can I make a reference here?
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen that video of the guy who takes like the modems and makes like the server boxes, and he made like the Skyrim song of it and all that? Is it like that kind of thing where it's that grinding sort of machine?
I haven't, but yes.
Okay.
Um,
Very cool.
and I think this is. It starts off with notes that are very similar to that song that used to be about Twilight and is now about the machine. But then it starts off with when the machine starts singing, it starts singing about itself. And then the next verse is about Twilight, and the verse after that is about the both of them. And the machine, through this song, is trying to show that Twilight's legacy will live on in it.
Cute.
How does Twilight respond to that?
I think there's definitely a degree to which they're very touched. It's very sweet, but a sense of not really believing that that's what will happen. Twilight has outlived every loved one they've ever had so far and assumes that this will continue. And but appreciates the fact that the machine thinks that that's what will happen.
Mhm.
Like, it's very sweet of you to think that way. It's not real though.
Delightful.
Yeah, and I had another question, which was like, does Twilight believe that the machine will outlive them, or no?
Definitely
No.
not.
Okay, good. Twilight listening to this song, like, oh, these naive people.
Yeah, and like, all these mortals, see something they don't understand, and they're like, this thing is gonna live forever. And as a person who has actually lived forever, it's like, yeah, no, okay. All right.
Okay. Who would like to pick the machine up from me?
I don't think I have yet. I can take it.
I think that
Cool.
would be our last one, right? Or kind of. I don't. Yeah. Because Hugh is gone, I've gone, and
Yeah, I think I'm the only one who has.
We can figure out.
yeah.
Okay. I think I'm going to take the machine to the Dusk Road. Um, Here at the gate of Umbra, the Dusk Road leading out of the city, it looks like, towards the Nameless City. And the machine is traveling a little differently now that it is very carefully holding ocean inside of its body. And that is the burden that it bears. It bears it gladly. It's glad to hold it and to hold ocean and to protect them from anything that might hurt them. The machine doesn't really understand necessarily what things actually would cause ocean harm, but is glad to prevent that from happening. Yeah, just walking down the Dusk Road. It's orange light and the clink clink chitter of a million legs walking down the road.
Cool. Does anyone have a goal they want to do here?
Are we allowed to be in the same place?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. I have an idea that I want to do for Yeet also on the Dusk Road. I think I don't know if this is happening at the same time as the machine is moving, But a burden you bear is the prompt I'm gonna go with here. I don't necessarily know that it's a local custom, or I think it's almost the opposite of how they see the machine. But I think it's a shot of Yeet, and we finally see that the the long sort of chained string that has been tied to their leg, behind them, about 50 feet back, is a large boulder, which they drag with it. Um, and it's got a mark. It's got a mark that's been carved into the side. And it's pretty deep. You can feel the sort of indentations, the sort of care that it was made with. And it's a mark of exile from the Hanging City. Yeet was the story that Yeet tells is to the machine is exile, and how the Hanging Cities have their own customs, and ways which they treat outsiders. And Yeet was never an outsider. Yeet was born and raised in the Hanging City, but he never prescribed to the customs of the Hanging City. And
He yoked instead of dragged.
he yoked instead of dragged. Yeah. yeah,
Oh,
but yeah, what I kind of think what the story is like the stone that he carries, the stone that he is forced to drag, is emblematic of you can't be up here, like you try to get up to the Hanging City, and this stone will drag you back down again. And I think that this is like a moment of him sort of, I don't know that this is something, it's a very personal story for him.
He's not like
But
trying to teach the machine anything.
no, he is trying to teach the machine something. Like I feel like I described last time. Yeat's goal here is to kind of show the machine what actual humanity, being an actual human, is like, right? Like
As
sort
the
of
only actual human of the group.
yeah, exactly. Like Yeet sees himself as the sort of like, listen, you can follow a 1,000-year-old crone, you can do all that, but you got to understand, like, the common people have their own issues they deal with, right? Like we can't just wait a decade and hope things get better, you know?
um, I I think I have a childlike question for this. I know that's very on par with the rest of the game, but I think that's interesting to me in this moment. I think that the machine, moves an arm close with digits that are sharp and almost scissor-like, and says, "Why don't you cut it off?"
Um, I think Yeet's response is cutting it off it would show weakness. It would show that I have neglected my own responsibility, which is to be true to myself.
If I cut it off,
I think you'd be overstepping your bounds, maybe. It's a deal. It's a problem I have to deal with, but you can make it lighter for me.
I think the machine thinks about this for a long time. That, same kind of whirring sound before reaching some limbs back and picking up the boulder and walking by your side.
I think Yeet is a little surprised. I don't know that this exactly. I think he meant it in more of a metaphorical sense, but
Right. Absolutely.
yeah, but yeah, no, I'm saying that's why it's good to me, is because it's like, and I don't think he declines the help. I think it's like he's perfectly happy to be walking alongside the machine.
Cool. I have a call. See. Where is my token? Here it is. I am going to go to the Starry Coast. What fades? I think this is a while after the machine has started carrying its admiral inside itself as a way to protect them from the outside world. And Anne has been walking alongside the machine with the lumbering but still somehow kind of graceful. I'm imagining almost like a sliding movement of a gargoyle. And I think after a bit, she clambers onto the machine and makes her way over to the cage where the admiral is in and sits down next to the admiral. And she holds out one of her arms, and on that arm in the stone is a carved channel that looks as if it has been carved over decades by something flowing, perhaps water or something. And she starts to tell a story about how several decades after she was originally carved, and I think she tells it in great detail with with the actual like descriptions of the room that she was set to watch for all of that time, and like the way that the atmosphere changed as the furniture became older and the building around her became older, and there were like groans from the stone as the machine within it grew. And I think eventually she tells about how there ended up being a crack in the ceiling of the room above her, where now and then, rarely, maybe once a week or something, a single drop of water would fall onto her left wrist. And over time, this would cut a channel as it fell onto her and slid off her wrist and fell down to the ground below. And how even something as enduring as stone and probably metal will weather away over time. But I think she also moves her wrist eventually to kind of show both the admiral and the machine that while that might maybe be sad and destroy the stone a bit, it also can reveal something beautiful, because the stone on the outside is old and weathered, and the stone that has been carved by the water is smooth and glossy, and perhaps even has a bit of almost like a geode-esque iridescence to it.
Yeah.
Can I just add that when you show this to Ocean
Mhm.
also shows you their arm, and in a similar way, but almost reversed, do we see solder, like filling in gaps, like you see where metal has started to fill in broken wood.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like showing like where you have been worn away and revealed, I am being built. Like,
I love that.
Right. Roll. 1. Not great.
The machine is really curious tonight.
Yeah, I mean, we can't be
Machine
helped.
is baby.
It's just baby. I think the machine looks, seems to look at several of its arms at the wrist, where a wrist would be. It's not really hands, and you can see from the illustration there's like a million bends in some of the arms, and some of them have hands, and some of them just have hooks, and it's just a whole mess of limbs. But just kind of looks at a few of their wrist-like joints and says, "How will you fix mine?"
Metal. I think that Anne thinks about that for a while and kind of like exchanges a look of similar non-expressive face with the admiral, and eventually like looks at the candle that she is holding in her hands and says, metal grows less supple as time goes on and it moves against itself. And the only thing I think I can offer you in that regard is and she kind of like wonders whether this will even work because she doesn't know. And I think like reaches over to one of the like joints of one of the arms and drips some melted wax onto it.
I think the machine just almost spends the rest of that day just like watching that arm, seeing the way that the joint moves now, trying to see if it's different. It's very hard. It's very hard for it to tell.
Okay, I'm gonna go to the moon pool. I think it's really interesting that we've all sort of gravitated towards the Gate of Umber here, which in the base game leads back to the top side of the map. So I think what happens here is it is the moment where the moon is visible through a crack in the surface of the earth, and for the first time, moonlight streams down onto the machine. This is the first time the idea that there is an outside world, that there is like an above ground, is made obvious here. And this pool of moonlight bathes all of us, I think, in this kind of white glow, and we see it reflecting off the machine and off the additions being made to ocean, and we see it just like diffuse this like soft pale glow amongst all of us. And I think those of us who want to like turn our faces towards it are free to do so. And maybe we see the machine like I'm thinking of that gesture of when you see light like streaming through and you see the dust particles in the light, and you like maybe move your hand through it and then see what happens when you disturb the dust. It's like you see the machine is like doing that kind of gesture and like moving its hand through the light. And Ocean, in this voice that is, it's like cracked and dry, calls out to Twilight, and asks of Twilight, how will the people above ground receive the machine? If you want to roll the dice to give me an answer there.
I just also I want to say, like, I think the moonlight as it hits sort of Yeat's string chain kind of shimmers off of it in a sort of hazy, like the summer, like roads you see in the summer kind of way.
Totally. That's super cool.
That's all here. So, man. All right. Listen, this is a good one. All right. For 6, we have silence. I think Twilight just looks at Ocean with just deep, unfathomably old eyes. Just, they've seen everything and they don't have an answer.
I think in the face of that silence, Ocean getting more agitated, asked Twilight, how will the people above ground receive the machine? And when met with further silence, like more and more agitated, just insistently asking this question, how will the people above ground receive the machine?
I think Yeet kind of like puts a hand on Ocean's shoulder and just like doesn't say anything either, but in a sense, like, some things aren't worth asking.
I think maybe Ocean turns to Yeet and like imploringly asks Yeet also, like, how will the people above ground receive the machine? And it's just like not getting a response from anyone maybe here.
Yeah.
And shrugs and says, have any one of us ever been above ground?
I used to sail, what's it called? Hold on one sec. It's called the Sightless Sea, I think, in this. Yes, I used to sail the Sightless Sea when I was a figurehead.
I was made from the stone in the cave around Karst, and I have been there all of my existence. I have never seen the sky before this.
Twilight says, I have been there many times, but I've always returned back here to my home.
Is there anything up there worth seeing?
For sure.
This moon is very pretty.
The sky is big.
Bigger than the caves.
Much bigger. And inside of it, sometimes, there are stars. The stars are worth seeing.
The stars are how my captain navigated.
I don't know if we ever got stars in the Hanging City, but if it was a particularly rumbly kind of day, you could see cracks and light came through. It wasn't like light like this, but it was some kind of light, pinpoint pricks.
Yeah, like that.
Anne holds her candle up into the air next to the moon as if it is a star.
Yeah, let's get a response from the machine.
Yeah. Roll for that. A 3. Another childlike question, of course. uh, I think that the machine just says, "Are we there yet?"
Hmm. Oh,
The archetypical childlike
the
question.
ultimate question. Yeah, totally.
Gotta throw that in there.
Oh, that's so good. I don't know about y'all, but I feel like that's the end of that story. Is the
Absolutely.
machine looking up at the moon and asking, "Are we there yet?" Is like a really beautiful way to close this
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
chapter.
Our
I love
child,
that.
like our baby machine.
Awesome.
I love our
Right.
baby machine.
Yeah. We love our robotic son.
We're good.
A family can be two inanimate homunculi, an exile with a piece of stone and on a string, an infinitely old crone, and a robotic son.
That's a family. No, that's a found family dynamic if I've ever heard one.
Bloody hell. All right. Do you want to take our break a little early and then we can start the next one?
Yeah, totally.
Yes.
If everyone's good with that, let me just message Adam. Yeah, do we want to take a little longer break here? Do we want to take 10 minutes as we're halfway through our section?
Oh, yeah,
I'm
that'd be
good with
great.
that.
Yeah,
Could I have 15 minutes maybe?
Yes,
if that's
absolutely.
okay?
Yeah. Let's take 15. Everyone get up, stretch your legs,
Thank you.
get hydration, whatever you need to do. Look
Oh.
after yourselves. And whenever Adam is ready, we will disappear off stream. And when we come back, I think we're going to jump into a new story in the same world. So please stick around and we will catch you shortly. Perfect. Hello. Welcome back. Yes, again, for the Roll Plus Bond second annual stream. We are halfway through our game of Full of Magic. And whilst we're here, we are currently fundraising for the Native American Rights Fund. If you have some available funds that you're able to donate, you can pop over to donate.rollplusbond.com and give anything you can. It's certainly been a year, and so simultaneously it's tough times for everyone, and very much whatever you can spare.
Do you want to read out some of the donations that came in?
Totally. Did we get some new ones? I am so sorry I missed these.
At least by the I haven't read out any of them, but by the bar,
yeah.
I think so.
Totally. Yes, we got $25 from Rachel. Thank you so much. We got $30 from Marin T. Thank you also. This is amazing. Thank you so much. Previous to that, we had Carter's $21. Thank you so much. Emily's 30. January's 35. And then these go back into mentions of the extremely wonderful Hogsley. So I'm going to assume those are also wishing well streams. That wishing well game was extremely wholesome.
It was very good.
Extremely good. Thank you all so much for everyone who's able to donate. And yeah, thank you for being here and staying with us. We are gonna switch over now from the Song of the Machine to the Song of the Stormwing. The Stormwing has vanished, and its captain has no memory of its fate. We prepare to sail the sightless sea and recover what we've lost. So, time to make some new or returning characters. There's new names, new titles. I should put a space that is not blue for us to list.
A little space.
Kind of like the idea almost of the figurehead still being a part of this game, honestly, because it's on a ship. It just feels right to me, but obviously there are too many ships to have one figurehead be at every ship. So
Figurehead, right? They gotta pass it around.
yeah.
Sorry. I am going to play Anne again.
Awesome.
Because I very much like the idea of a stone gargoyle on a ship. Very impractical, delightful to me.
Are you taking a new title, or are you keeping?
Yes. At the moment, I think I am taking Anne, the student of the academy.
Amazing.
Ooh.
Because I think it has been a while. There's probably a significant amount of time since the previous game. I think you can see the age on the stone that Anne has. There's like parts. There's more parts that are weathered, and there are like streaks of rain on her face, like tears. And stuff like that. Probably moves a bit stiffer.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and I think she was out to the academy to learn things to teach the machine, and was on her way back.
Amazing.
Oh, cute.
I'm going to be playing Ishan, the banker of the Gilded District. He, him pronouns. Ishan is very anthropomorphic mix of take like a palace cat that have those incredible grumpy looking faces and add like lynx ears.
Oh, delightful.
And like the big paws of like a lynx. But instead of looking grumpy like the palace cat does, imagine the palace cat like very smiley. Ishan is like a very big bombastic figure, all grins, just so happy to see everyone, so happy to be here.
I love them.
Yeah, I'm going to be playing Scully, Financier of the Stormwing. It's their pronouns are he, they. Honestly, I chose Scully because it reminds me of the name Skelly from Hades, and that's
A
fun to
good
me.
boy.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that he's just a guy. He wasn't on the ship when it disappeared, but he's the guy who commissioned it to sail.
Mhm.
All right. I'm going to on top of everything else. I'm going to play Pockets, the Rat of Badwater. I'm going to do Shive for Pockets. Oh, of course, and then I hit the wrong button. I think that Pockets is fairly young, maybe mid-teens. Kind of wears nondescript clothing and is definitely known to steal things whenever she can. A real problem.
Delightful. Is she an actual rat or?
Sure. You know what? Yeah, she's got a real ratty face. Just gray city rat. Little grabby hands. Just
Okay.
a real problem child.
The opposite of a problem.
Mm.
Okay. Great. That's character creation. I love it. Speedy. Love it. Love this game. Okay, great. So now we are going to choose a token to represent the captain. And this is the captain of the Stormwing who is awoken with no memory of what happened to the boat that has disappeared. So does anyone have strong feelings?
The birds with the ocean is very good for a captain to me.
I
Totally.
agree.
Especially like the empty ocean has like
Uh-huh.
A
yeah.
boat.
It's an
Oh,
absence of boat.
Yeah,
oh,
the
it's
Notable
perfect.
absence of
So
boat.
good.
absence of boat is very
Oh, that's fantastic. I love it. Okay, great. Perfect. And then everyone can choose a token for their character.
I am going to choose the candle, but the opposite side of the candle now because she's run out of candles.
Oh, some more candles.
I mean, they're also just not very practical for on the water, are they?
What's the difference between the top fox and the bottom fox? Because I can't really tell.
One has some kits, like baby foxes with them, and the other one is alone.
The top
Yeah.
one, the one that has the babies, also
Like
looks a lot like
scars.
more weathered and
Yeah.
scarred.
Mm-hmm. I think I'm going to choose the bottom one for Scully because I think Scully is someone who's always fancied themselves a sort of sailor type. But he actually if he went out he could never do it, so he's like kind of lying in a sense, and I kind of associate foxes with being sly and lying in a way. Also, I didn't mention this before, but my claim is Seahawk from She-Ra for
Nice.
their combat wing.
Good.
Delightful.
All right.
I'm gonna.
Oh yeah. No, you go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna take this egg. I'm a banker. You gotta take care of your nest egg. You know.
You gotta. That's important.
Also, cats love steel egg.
That is true.
Cats love egg.
Cats do love the egg. Okay, I'm gonna take the tree with what's got leaves on it. I think Pockets is young, early in her life, just figuring things out still.
Just a little sapling.
I'm going to move these tokens down to the bottom. If you ever want to flip over and change the slide that your token is facing, they're just at the very bottom of the screen now. So help yourself. Okay, great. We place the captain in Estalia, which we have done. Move the captain as you would the Magus. When sailing the sightless sea, instead of going directly from island to island, return to the sea wing after each island and cool the course. So in this game, we will be sailing the seas and possibly not solving the mystery of what has happened to the Stormwing, what has happened to the captain, what has happened to the crew, whether Scully will ever make good on financing the expedition.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in this case, moving the captain like the Magus will use the certain text has this like slightly fancier font, and those are the story prompts that the captain will use. So the Sea Wing, for instance, has the hospitality of Grandmother Black. If we go to some of these island cards, the Dread Calm, a windless fortnight, the Crystal Islands, the Moving Light. So you take the turn as the captain of the Stormwing rather than as your character, and then we just cycle through character turns as before. And yeah. Does anyone have a scene they would like to do? Either we could jump straight onto the Sea Wing, the ship that we're sailing on, I assume, or to one of the islands if you don't want to start in Estalia, but if there's something in Estalia you feel like, just yeah.
I don't currently have ideas.
Yeah, I'm kind of trying to read over these prompts real quick.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of like, I don't know how exactly this or who it means, but I kind of like an unexpected reunion as a prompt.
I would be super down for our characters to have history if
yeah,
as
maybe
two financial peoples.
Yeah, I like that idea. Yeah. Just to make sure I've got this right. So if I pick this, how does that involve my character, or does that involve just the captain?
So the captain's starting in Estalia, so it's going to be your character. And then once everyone's had at least one turn in Estalia, someone will move the captain onto the Sea Wing
cool.
and then take a turn.
Gotcha. Okay, I wasn't entirely sure
Yeah.
how that worked. Yeah, I think that this is a scene of Scully. I think Scully and Nishan, correct me if I'm wrong, I think they have a sort of professional relationship. I think Scully is someone who he did not work for his money like the rest of us. He inherited it. So
like most people with money.
That
like
tracks.
most people with money.
That tracks.
And so I think Ishan is the manager of his like parent or their parents' like estate. In a way, like this is a pull from a Decemberist song, but I'm sure that fellow queer people all listen to the Decemberists. So like in the why can't I remember the name of the song now? Maybe it's because it's pretty late for me, but it's basically like he manages the family's accounts and he has like access to all that. I think this is Scully, kind of in a foul mood, heading to, I don't know, probably the Nazad station. It's like a train station of some sort, maybe? Not train, but like a place, a train station if a train station was ships instead.
Okay, yeah, like a big harbor, but it's like
a
there
tunnel.
are still platforms, like that feeling
Yeah.
of like, oh, that's awesome. Yeah, you like sail the boat in instead of its train tracks. It's like
right, like how you pull into like a
books.
hotel and there's like separate sections. Yeah,
Yes,
it's like that.
It's so good.
And I think he's just waiting around, and I think Ishan is down there. Maybe I don't know, watching ships go out, but Scully is in a bad mood, a foul mood from losing out some money on a ship recently.
Mm. Would I
The
know
moment you
that?
said foul mood, I imagined foul with FOWL. There's a whole bunch
He's
of
feeling real
there's a
chicken-like
bunch of
today.
like
For
seagulls
Thunderhead.
bothering him.
Yeah. I think
Um,
like that is part of his whole thing is why he doesn't like the sea is because like the sea also doesn't like him. So,
mm.
anyways,
Ishan, upon seeing Scully like big paw to the back, like so friendly, and probably doesn't know his own strength. I think Ishan is like just built, just a big wide guy. You know what I mean? Like, and just
yeah,
the a lynx's paws are huge, right? Like that's a cat that needs to be
Yes.
able to like stay stable in a very uneven terrain, and so
Can I
just this
ask?
huge paw. Sorry, yes.
Can I ask, is Ishan quadrupedal or bipedal?
I think bipedal. Think like a Disney kind of
Okay.
like Robin Hood, Disney Robin Hood kind of animal. Yeah, smack Scully on the back, and it's just like, he thinks Scully.
yeah. I think it's a little bit like when you see your teacher outside of school, where it's
Uh-huh.
like, oh, my banker he does things like that's not banking. But Scully is like, Sean, surprised to see you down here by the shore.
I am going to be doing something very exciting. I'm well, the bank has sent me after the Stormwing.
Oh,
I
you're going after the Stormwing.
I I suppose you're not feeling too happy yourself about the uh disappearance.
I guess you've heard then. Yeah, well, never been one for the sea, but I feel like maybe I should be on this journey as well, being invested in it.
Investment. That's certainly the. I'm trying to decide if I would say that's your strong suit here, or I'm going to say that's your Achilles heel here. Investment is certainly the name of your game, Scully.
I think Scully takes that as a compliment rather than like an insult.
Big teeth grin from Ishan.
Yeah, and he's been in a foul mood, but he's a little bit perked up by that. He's like, well, I would say so myself. But I can handle a little bit of sea. What man couldn't?
Hmm. What good investor isn't prepared to take a risk? That's what I always say.
Exactly. And Scully does little finger guns at Ishan.
Ishan puts two paws to his heart and mimics like, "Oh, you got me."
I'm imagining Ishan wearing like extremely richly patterned and colored fabrics.
Perfect. Yeah, yeah.
Ooh,
Big
like
70s
patches.
suit
Yeah.
vibe. Paisley tie, way big collars.
Yeah. Yeah, I think despite like not liking the ocean at all, like Scully's vibe is very much like what you see captains wear with all the buttons and the gold like trim. Um yeah, but he's got that big like Seahawk mustache and haircut vibes.
Mm-hmm.
And I think like the end of this scene is that we see the Sea Wing begin to enter dock here.
Perfect.
I have
Cool.
something in Stalia. I really like the Gilded District, but you cannot afford. Sorry, my cat is freaking out. um, Pockets can't really afford much of anything with their own money. That's for darn sure. So I think there's a shot of just like counting the random loose change that she has in her hand, certainly stolen from someone, and just being like, "Fuck, this isn't enough. This won't do." And I think eventually they hear a rumor about the Stormwing being lost. And it's a bright idea, and maybe goes to try to decide if she would try to talk to the captain or Scully. Maybe Scully, because that's the person with the money, supposedly. Um, but it's just like, hey, I heard you lost a boat.
Well, it wasn't me who lost the boat. If I were on the ship, I tell you what.
Someone take it?
I don't know.
Well, let me tell
I
you
paid.
something.
I s- oh,
Let me tell you something that I do know, which is that if someone did take it, then you're going to need someone who's very good at thieving things to think like a thief, to lead you to where it's going to be hidden.
you're a thief.
Oh, obvious. Now,
Do a trick right now. Thief me.
Oh.
Thieve me.
Feed me, Seymour.
Thieve me.
Has she already thieved him?
Yeah, I think thing, right? It's just like rolls her eyes and takes like his pocket watch out of her pocket, and it's just like, I've had this for 5 minutes while I was following you down the road.
I think Scully is a little bit upset, even like even though he specifically asked for this, it's like they don't really expect someone to, yeah, and it's like I suppose you have some skill then. We could use someone like you, sure.
I will humbly offer you my services in exchange for room and board on the boat, as you like the other boat.
That's it.
I mean, I don't think I need too much else. I can procure anything else I need by my own methods.
Welcome aboard the Sea Wing.
Thank you.
Or pockets. I mean,
so excited to get off this island.
and I think like maybe the end is like them heading back to the port place to yeah. I think timeline wise, that's maybe the reason why Scully was in even more of a bad mood coming in.
That's actually happened before.
Yeah.
I am going to move Anne to the wharf, where the prompt is the first time you saw the sea. And I think Anne has been studying at the academy for a while to learn magic and learn things to be able to bring back to the machine to teach. And now she wants to go back to the machine, but that's across the ocean. So she needs a boat. And I think she has also been contracted to go help with the Sea Wing because they probably thought, oh, bringing a magician along would be a good idea. I don't think I feel like that was probably negotiated like through mail or something, and probably nobody on board of the Sea Wing realized that she was a gargoyle.
I think like maybe there's like a custom of like, yeah, you bring along somebody who does magic to help you not like navigate, like not get lost, right?
Uh-huh. And then I think Anne shows up at the docks to meet with the rest of the crew, and she's I mean, she's still very obviously a gargoyle. I didn't mention this last game, but I kind of imagine her aesthetic being like one of those sad graveyard statues, like just a lady wearing a big cloak. um, she doesn't have a candle anymore at the moment. She probably still is holding in one hand like the stub of a candle that isn't on. And because she's been studying at the magic at the academy, her cloak is currently painted with like stars and moons.
Hmm.
And yeah, she has never seen the sea before, so she walks up to the the edge of the boardwalk on the docks and stares at the ocean, probably currently ignoring the rest of the crew that is there waiting for her. If any of you want to be there already, you can.
I'd be happy for Sean to say something here.
Mm-hmm.
I think stands next to Anne and then says, like, nods at your coat, like with the chin, where you like lift your chin,
Mm-hmm.
to gesture at the cloak, and is like, wait till you see it at night. It reflects all the stars, and oh my god, there's nothing like it.
If it reflects the stars, doesn't that mean that the sky is like it?
Sean just like bursts into laughter, and is just like, I'm going to enjoy having you on board. Holds out a paw. I'm Sean.
Holds out a stone hand. I think one of the fingers is broken off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Sean takes it and shakes. It's not like phased or certainly doesn't show it. Are you at the academy?
Yes.
That's wow. I'm really just a bean counter, but what you do over there is just. I mean, I know this sounds trite or cliche, but it's magic. It's truly magic.
And laughs and says, "It's nothing compared to what my machine can do, but I do what I can."
Oh, you have a calculator too?
No, I am one of the companions of the machine. Have you
Sean just like,
heard of it?
when you're like smiling and you're just like blank faced, like, no, we have at the bank, we have an adding machine, and it's something.
No, the machine is nothing like that. The
Oh,
machine is grand and inscrutable and will survive us all. Except maybe the crone.
well, I know George over in accounts says that the machine's gonna put us all out of work, so I guess ours will also outlive us all, yeah. And then just like big grin again.
I think Anne turns back to the ocean and um, looks at the boat and says, "Do you think it will bear my weight?"
Ma'am, it sounds very unbecoming for me to comment, but I can't imagine uh, the ship couldn't handle you. And I think Isham like gestures at his own bulk as well. And he's like, floating is very different to carrying, to hauling a burden.
I will take your word for it. I don't think I've ever floated.
Oh, you got to try floating. There is nothing like it.
I think I would just sink.
Oh,
And there is a lot of it to sink into.
perfect. That probably feels like scene.
Yes.
Okay. I think I'm gonna go Starfall Academy. I don't really have a tie-in for how this is the. Oh no, actually, I think it's a Sean. Some time before the scenes we've just seen, and he has been called to the Starfall Academy that I assume Anne is a student of, and he's kept waiting. Like I'm imagining like a gated university, kind of like in England. In like some of the older universities, there's like the old-fashioned gates, and Ishan is like kept waiting, is not allowed like in, is not a professor, not a student, is kept waiting, and eventually a footman brings out a letter, and Ishan like quickly breaks open the letter and reads the contents, and we just see him like scrunch, the like the scrunch of paper, just like grabs it and closes like his entire hand around it and like storms off away from the gates of the Starfall Academy. That's the scene. It's a pretty short one.
So now we get to move our captain.
Yes. Cool. Ali, did you want to take the captain onto the ceiling?
Yes. Boom, boom. So the Sea Wing, the hospitality of. Okay, so just to clarify things, I am doing a scene on the Sea Wing, or I guess. What does this entail again?
So it's just like doing a scene as your character, except you're doing the scene as the captain of the Stormwing in our
I
case.
see. Okay, all right.
This is when you do the.
All right. So the missing captain. How? I'll do. The helm. How we find our way. I think that the Stormwing, or am I doing this right? Just to make sure.
Mhm.
Okay. The helm. I think our
Oh,
Stormwing.
sorry, no, sorry, my misunderstanding. So the captain will go to the Sea Wing, and then the prompt there is the hospitality of Grandmother Black.
I see. Gotcha. Okay. The hospitality of Grandmother Black. I don't exactly know how to interpret Grandmother Black, but I will do my own. I think the Grandmother Black is a much bigger ship. It's sort of like an air carrier of smaller ships.
Hmm.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, and so the hospitality of Grandmother Black here is the Stormwing preparing its cargo. It's loading up. It's getting ready to go out to sea. We see a bunch of boxes of rations. We see a bunch of boxes of there's a whole box of fruit because I think that we've probably figured out scurvy is a bad thing to have. But the scent at the shore there is like there's fish markets. It's a very lively scene. Things are looking good for the Stormwing. There's nothing wrong. They even get on the better side of one of the deckhands, and one of the deckhands is on the better side of the supplier, and they get a couple extra rations to sail out to sea with. There's nothing wrong with the Stormwing in this moment. I think that's the scene.
Nice. Okay. Cool. Do we want to keep going in the same order? If people have preferences.
Yeah. I just did the scene. So
Yeah, it sort of resets like in a weird way every time you move. So yeah, totally.
So if somebody else wants to go first, and then I'll go sometime later in the order.
Totally. Yeah. That way
Is
the
it
captain
in
keeps
this?
moving.
Is it in the same way as the other one, where it can be anywhere on the map, or is it just at the area where the captain is?
Yeah. So this way, in this one, it's just at the area where the captain is. So
Okay.
we'll board the scene. So Zoe, I think you're up.
Yeah, I think that's me then. Okay. I'm gonna go to the galley. What we have been eating. I think that there's shared meals and they're great. But what we actually end up seeing is pockets in a little corner of the bunk area where everyone has a bunk to sleep in, kind of stashed behind some boxes and under some old rags, just like a random assortment of food that she's stashed away from about the ship. A few pieces of hardtack, an orange, and some jerky. Right, like she's being fed well, but the instinct to hoard and hide food for another less happy time is still strong with her. So just kind of hiding, crouching real small as she can get, hiding behind these boxes, munching on some hardtack all by herself. I don't have really too much else on that.
Do we still do the call and then the roll for the response?
No. So for this one, we're going to do the call after we visit an island. We come back
Okay.
to the boat and do the call.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
In that case, I think it's my turn.
Mhm.
I am going to move to the helm for how we find our way. And I think this is Anne standing at the prow of the ship next to probably the navigator of the ship. And she holds out the stub of the candle in both of her hands, and I think it like there's a bit of an effect, almost as if light is being dragged. It's night at the moment, and the sea is very calm. There's no wind really, and there's almost an effect as if the light of the stars is being pulled towards the candle as it sputters to life magically. And then we see this network of glowing candlelight lines crisscrossing the ocean, and faint, probably illegible text to most people, because I think it's written in the machine's language. As she magically accesses the sum total of knowledge of the machine and uses it to navigate.
Amazing. Cool. Is there any more to that scene? Or does that feel good?
No, I think that's it.
That's awesome. Cool. I'm going to go to the cabin. What does the captain of the Stormwing look like that we are traveling with to find their boat?
I think the captain of the Stormwing is young. Like, it's notable how young they are. They're like, I think probably the Sea Wing is financed by Scully too.
Oh,
Um,
okay. This
because
is just
it's
a
like,
fleet.
yeah, it's like, okay, I missed a ship. They could have anything on that ship. And I think the captain that Scully chose is like supposed to be like a young prodigy. But they're that stereotypical pirate image in a way, which is like, I don't think they have a parrot on their shoulder. That feels a bit too on the nose. But it's like very much the vibe, you know?
Mhm.
Like if you think a pirate, it's kind of basically that.
Okay. Pronouns?
She, her, I think.
Okay.
I don't know what the name is off the top of my head of this character, but
No worries. We will get there in the end, or we can pull one from the list on there. Yeah, I think this is.
I kind of like the name Olive, is what I'll say.
Yeah, Captain Olive. That's great.
Okay.
Captain Olive. This is probably our third or fourth night at sea, I think. And we are in the cabin of Olive. And Olive, who has been through a pretty intense time, I would say. Like her ship has vanished, and no one knows where it is, and she has lost her memory, and she is sitting. Or maybe it's she's returning to the cabin after it's like late at night, and I think she's been up on watch. She doesn't sleep very well now. She's been up on the deck, like looking out at the stars, and has returned late at night to her cabin, and it's dead quiet as she's like walking down the stairs and through the length of the boat to her cabin. She's used to having one of the nicer cabins as the captain, and on the Sea Wing she does not have that nice of a cabin, just like a standard crew cabin. It's still private, which I don't imagine everyone's is, but she opens the door and goes inside and closes the door, and there is a rustling, and then just these two huge paws grab her by the collar and they slam her against the wall, and we see Asham like up in her face, and he's like, cut the amnesia bullshit. Where is it? Does someone want to play Captain Olive here?
Oh my god, heel turn.
He'll turn. He'll turn.
I would, but I'm up next, so I don't want to like
Totally.
screen time.
I'll do it.
Okay, great.
I think Captain Olive kind of like shrugs off the paws and
Mhm.
like does that gesture of like flicking dust off of her like fancy captain's cloak
Mhm.
and says, "It's not bullshit, Ishan. I really don't remember."
Olive, I don't super care about the boat. I don't super care about the crew. I don't super care about you. What I care about is what was in the cargo hold. Where is it?
I don't know. I don't care how often you ask me. I don't know. If I knew, we wouldn't be in this position.
If the Magus finds out what we were transporting, what my client paid you to transport, do you have any idea what they will do to us?
Yes. Why do you think I'm here? I didn't come alone either.
Ishan like looks around the cabin.
What, do you think I would be that obvious as to actually take my servants with me as my servants? No, they're hidden. And I'm not telling you who they are either.
Ishan just like fuming. You had one job. It was a simple transportation gig. How do you lose a ship?
I don't know. How do you lose a ship? I don't remember, Ishan. And you know what that means? It means it doesn't even have to be my fault. Maybe the ship was broken
Oh,
because you
how
didn't repair it
convenient.
properly.
Oh, it wasn't Olive's fault. Oh, it's a good angle. No, I respect the hustle. It's a good angle. Suddenly it's not your fault. No one could blame Olive. Poor Olive.
It's good that you know what side the public opinion falls on.
Public opinion is one of my biggest concerns, Captain.
My concern is the ship.
Your concern
And I will
should be
find
the
it.
cargo.
Now, I don't know about you, Cat, but I need to sleep.
All the fur like puffs up, when cats like make themselves really big, just like. And I think Ishan like stalks to the door and just storms out.
I think there is like a moment after Ishan has left that Olive kind of like also deflates a little bit from like the very squared shouldered version of herself she was putting up, and then chuckles dryly before closing the door and locking it like multiple times. I think she's brought extra locks.
Awesome. That's Ishan's scene. Thank you so much for doing that.
All right, and I suppose Scully is the last one. I particularly like Crow's Nest, what lies on the horizon. I think the answer to this specific prompt is what scares Scully the most, which is nothing lies on the horizon. It's just a big open sea, right? And I think it's like Scully and Anne specifically. I think because Anne knows magic, and Scully would know that Anne knows magic because that's what Anne was hired for. And he'd be like, "Don't you have some way of like reducing nausea or like?" Oh, I cannot stand it.
I think is Scully at like the crow's nest at the moment?
Yeah, he's like all the way at the top of the ship in the crow's nest, like fainting with his hand on his head.
Anne is at the bottom of the mast.
Yeah, he's calling down. He's like,
There is
please.
no way she is climbing up there.
He's like, please, Anne, please. It's so dreadful. The affliction has taken me.
I think Anne kind of like looks at that, then casts a spell to like increase her hearing and says, "Say again."
So terrible, Anne. I feel so nauseous all the time.
I think she kind of like it does her candle flutters open again, and there's sort of like this almost holographic like spell book that appears in the candlelight, and she sort of flicks through and says, "Okay, I can try something, but keep in mind I don't have a stomach, so I don't know how well it works."
Please, please, just try. Anything is better than this.
Yeah, she walks into probably like, I think that considering she doesn't need to sleep, she doesn't actually have a room so much as she has one of the like small storage cupboards that she keeps like material components in. And she comes back with like a mortar and pestle and starts just like grinding stuff. I think it's actually just the mortar. The mortar is the bowl, right? Which of them is which? Mortar
The
is a bowl,
pestle
I
is
think.
the pestle is the
Pestle's the
grinder, the
stick.
mortar is the boy, right?
Yeah, it's just the mortar, and she's using one of her fingers as the pestle.
Yes, good.
And yeah, she starts grinding up some stuff, adds some water, and then says, Okay, I've got something.
Can you, like, just get it up to me? Do you do the thing where you teleport, where you, yeah, I don't know, that kind of thing? I cannot move.
No, but I learned something from one of my companions. And
Oh?
she grabs this potion
Yes.
and and she does like a pose like the people who throw balls in baseball.
Yeah,
And she
dude.
eats the potion up.
I think the end of this scene is just the bowl absolutely splashes and gets shit all over Scully, and it's just a mess. And he's like, and I think he like starts to gag a little bit, and we just see him off screen.
Superb.
Poor Fred. Yes.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, we're just at the hour now, so we have 1 hour remaining. So I think we're going to take another 5-minute break and then come back and move on to our next island. I don't think we'll be wrapping this story in any hugely satisfying conclusion, but we will certainly be drawing the first chapter to a close. So, yeah, we're going to take 5 and then join us again for the final hour of Full of Magic. Thank you so much, everyone.
One confirm.
Uh-oh.
Hello?
Oh, oh,
Oh, no
no.
worries.
Oh.
Sound is back.
Okay,
Let's try
perfect.
again.
Perfect. Chris, thank you for letting us know. Hello, we are back. Sorry for that. This is the last portion of our Full of Magic stream, but we will be streaming for another 20 hours total going forward, 5 more games in the Roll Plus One second annual stream. We are still raising funds this year for the Native American Rights Fund. If you have some money to donate, please feel free to do so at the link donate.rollplusbond.com, or I think there's the link you can click how to donate on the stream page itself. We got a couple more donations, $50 from the machine. Thank you so much. We were all just joking around and saying the machine has grown up so much. Knows that mutual aid is radical.
It's
And
got
voice,
50
I'm so
whole
proud.
dollars. I'm so proud of the machine for making $50.
Who's been giving the machine an allowance?
Sure wasn't us.
It's Scully. Scully
And
pays
sending
off of
home, and
Yeah.
sending home money from
Oh.
Stipend.
Academy.
Oh, that's cute.
Perfect. And $10 from Bupper with a little smiley face emoticon. Thank you so much. Extremely wholesome. Yeah, let's jump back in. Hopefully, we get another one more round with everyone to bring our portion of the stream to a close. Who is up to move the captain?
I think it's me.
Perfect. So
Um,
you can sail to any one of these islands that has your.
Great.
The ocean is your oyster.
It is.
Oh, money.
It's not here.
Let's see here. I think I'm going to go to mouth of the sea. It's all the way down there at the bottom, but it's very cool. So I'm just going to drag this one all the way down there.
That's a good one for the final.
Yeah. The mouth of the sea is, as we can see in our little picture here, just a hole in the middle of the ocean. It sure sucks down somewhere. No one's quite sure where.
And knows.
And knows. That is true. I think we see all of the prompt here is the thunder. I think we see Olive, directing the ship to sail basically as close to the mouth as possible, and looking down, you can see the water kind of swirling, and honestly, electricity sparking and roiling down at the bottom of, as far as you can see down into this mouth, and big booms of thunder that echo up from underneath. So
Fantastic.
that is what the captain sees.
All right. So, who's up now? Anne?
Okay. Yes. I think I think that I'm going to go to Flotsam, what comes aboard. And I'd maybe like a scene with Ishan, if that's okay.
Please, yeah.
I think this is during the night as we approach the mouth of the sea, and Anne is on the deck watching, probably like making like magical searchlights to illuminate the water. And I think there are crates in the water that she is gently coaxing the water to bring towards the boat.
Yeah, I guess Ishan is like trying to like pull them aboard. Is like go one of those big boat hooks, I think, and is trying to like pull crates to like get a sense of where this cargo is from.
Mm-hmm. I think just as one of the crates approaches the side of the ship and gets close enough that by the magical light Ishan can see probably like an identifying mark
Mhm.
that lets him know these are his crates. And he goes for it with the hook. The crate floats out of the water and lands in Anne's outstretched hand. Says, interesting. Isn't this from the Stormwing?
I believe the mark there, the that lightning bolt with the wings. I believe that's the logo. Yes.
Well, we better open it up then.
We probably shouldn't open it up though, because of, well, we don't know what made the boat disappear. What if it's something in those crates?
If it's something in those crates, then we will know what made the boat disappear. Isn't that the main objective of this trip?
I think the main objective of the trip is to. I would check with Scully, but I think we're just trying to, recover as much as we can, recoup our losses, so to speak.
Well, in that case, isn't it better that we find out what's in it so that we know whether it's worth the effort?
Um,
I think like Scully is at the top of the raven's nest still, and
Mhm.
kind of looks down at Ishan. Way that's like obviously don't open this.
mhm.
Anne makes a gesture as if she's going to open it.
Could we at that moment get the boat lurching as it gets caught in the current of the
Mouth?
mouth of the sea?
Oh, yes.
Very good.
And it's like Anne has not been steering because Anne has been like involved in this conversation, and
Mhm.
and the boat like heads towards the maelstrom of the mouth of the sea.
Like, oh no.
I don't I don't know that Anne responds to that. I think she just sort of keeps looking at Ishan with the hand next to like the lid of the crate. And is like
Totally.
almost daring him to say something.
um, yeah, I I have no idea what's in the crate. Like I figured we would never see this on screen, because I was like, we're only playing like 2 hours of this. Like, I don't need to worry about it.
All of
Uh,
calling
Can
Anne away.
I make a suggestion?
mhm.
I think it's parts of the machine.
Oh,
That's definitely interesting.
totally.
Oh, that explains so much about why Anne is here.
Zoe, were you saying something also, just so we don't?
Yeah, I was just saying that if we didn't want these boxes open in this moment, we could have Olive calling Anne away, right? To at least defer this for a little while.
Mhm.
That works too. Yeah, I would like.
Yes.
Yeah,
I do love the
I
parts
like
of the
both of these
machine thing, though.
ideas.
We
Like,
can work
it's
that
really
in.
great.
You
Like
can work with that
having
later,
those on the boat
maybe.
is so
Yes.
good. Yeah, totally.
But yeah, we get
Yeah.
Olive Like, Anne, aren't you supposed to be driving this thing? Get us away from here.
I think, yeah, Anne sighs and says, "Very well. I suppose we'll find out later." Puts it down and walks away to where the wheel is. And I think you probably hear her muttering, probably because, she doesn't have an actual mouth, so it's magic voice anyway. Something like, "What's down there isn't so bad anyway."
The truth. And it's like, yeah, that's just my house. Like, chill.
I mean, yeah, sure, all of you will die in the crash, but I'll still be okay.
As long as the figurehead survives, we're good.
About it.
Perfect. Okay. I would love to have a scene with pockets if you have capacity for it. Closer to the mall. So I think it's like the ship is like erupting into action as people are trying to deal with this probably pretty terrifying situation. I can't imagine a vacuous whirlpool is anything less than just about the most horrifying thing you could see on the sea. And I think that as all these people are like rushing around, Ishan, we see his eyes like shooting back and forth, trying to like put together a plan, and then a lights on pockets and very casually makes his way like in the way that this is just a scene of like crew members like rushing from side to side of the boat, and Ishan is just doing that great like very calm walk forward like as everyone's like moving around him, and finds pockets, and he holds out a paw and is like, "Pockets dear, I don't think we've really had much of an introduction yet." And when if Pockets closes her hand, there is absolutely some kind of currency in the handshake.
Okay, then yes, absolutely. I think, yeah, they reach out, grab the hand, palm the money effortlessly. And it's just like, yeah, you're kind of a bigwig around these parts, but I don't think we've really talked.
A bigwig maybe. You know, I'm a banker. What you and I do is actually very similar.
That's true.
I have an opportunity for you. Should you find yourself looking to make a little extra something? I know you are only here for room and board, which for a person of your skill set seems um, severely lacking for the kind of pay you should be making. You really have to learn to advocate for yourself.
I mean, when they think they're getting a good price on you, they don't tend to notice when their pockets leave a little lighter, if you know what I mean.
I know exactly what you mean. It's misdirection is nothing if not our dearest friend, you know. The crates.
Yeah, there's some big boxes.
Those are some big boxes. What I'm really looking for is someone with the capacity, the nuance, and the panache to get those crates to my cabin without anyone else seeing them. And I just wonder if that's something you think you would be capable of.
I mean, it's possible.
How much would it cost to be possible?
Oh my. How much is it worth to you? It seems to me if you really don't want anyone seeing what's in those crates, that we have a very convenient out for them right now, but if you really want to keep them and make people think that you don't have them, well, that's going to be quite a more difficult trick.
You're saying, and I think the look of recognition is if I'm understanding right, you're saying like we get the cargo out and then push the crates back overboard and effectively say we lost them.
Yes.
I love it. Oh, it's so good.
You have the stuff that people don't think you have the stuff.
Pockets. Oh my gosh, where have you been all my life?
On the streets, starving.
We need to turn that around. I think I could find a job for you at the bank.
A job.
It's
Yeah, okay.
it's
No,
it's the best kind of grift you can have, let me tell you.
Sounds boring.
I know, but the money's so good, Pockets. And I think Ishan takes out like the billfold and just is like like
She just very quickly from this like, yeah, whatever, I don't care, to be like very interested. Like, oh shit, that's not funny. Oh damn, okay. Yeah, I can make this happen and we can continue our conversation at a different time, perhaps.
You are nothing if not a gem. And then I think Ishan like very surreptitiously kicks a crew member overboard and it's like, man overboard, everyone look over here. His Pockets like gets to work and make sure that he is also the one holding the boat hook that rescues this person.
Yeah, I think the camera does see Pockets just like very quickly and efficiently like open the boxes just enough, get skinny little rat arms in there, just shove anything solid that's not, hay. Usually they have like hay or straw to pad things in these kinds of crates into anywhere where she can carry them. And then at the next time that the boat lurches, man, those boxes just weren't tied down as well as they were supposed to be. And off they go, deep down into the maw.
Superb. And again, Ishan like, oh, Anne, oh no, the crate, Anne! The crates, Anne!
It's just extremely thundering footsteps as Anne rushes over. Just probably those boards are creaking as hell.
This leads very well into the scene that I want to do next, honestly.
Please.
The next scene with Scully is the ocean's breath, what you miss here. Where did I put my token? There it is. Scully pulls Ishan to the side. You do this to me now, Ishan? And he like struggles to keep it down a little bit. In my hour of need, Father would have you hanged.
Oh, Scully, sweetheart, please, it's just cargo. Your life is so much more valuable. The lives of these crew, that brave sailor that I heroically just pulled back on board. That's riches you can't replace.
You're a nasty little cat. A nasty little cat.
I think the smile just drops. And Ishan is like, listen, Pipsqueak. I may be a nasty cat, but I am certainly not little. And just like draws himself up to this like looming height and is just trying to like impose and threaten. I think just trying to be very intimidating.
I don't think that this is the sort of threat that works on. I don't think he's ever been punched in his life. And he's just like, oh, what are you gonna do? You're gonna hit me? You know that my father would not have that. You don't wish to lose his money, do you, cat?
I think you 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 overestimate your value to your father compared to my value to your father.
And I think Scully counts a little bit and exhales sharply and is like, "So be it. He will know upon arrival."
You've had your say,
You
Captain.
had your
I'll
say,
have
Potion
mine.
Zeller, but I'll have mine. You're a rascal. A rascal with no respect for the upper crust.
Ishan is now making a very particular list in his head of exactly what needs to come back to shore and what doesn't.
Yeah, that's move.
A lot of things get lost on sea.
I think it's even Scully rounding up the people he can to bring in the parts of the crates that are going into the maw that can be saved.
Mm-hmm, yeah. I think any other crates we recover, it's none of them are ones that Ishan is worried about, right? It was the fortuitous events of writing
Scully
narrative that it would be that one crate, right?
Yeah, Scully is very not happy at recovering 10 portions of soggy bread, a bunch of wet oranges that have been out for 2 weeks in the sun.
God.
I think Anne is not really helping. She probably could retrieve some with magic, but she's like, okay, if parts of the machine are in here, they're just going home. And if not, I have
It's
to.
fine.
I can get them otherwise.
Oh, that's very good. That's very good. Okay, yeah. I also oh man, I think I also I'm on the the Twitch instead of on the Roll20. Unfortunately. I think I also want to do the flotsam. What comes aboard to just kind of continue the energy of this. We see Pockets kind of waiting until there's no one around, and moving over to the correct cabin, Ishan's cabin, and kind of just dumping out all of this it almost looks like scrap metal, right? It's just some of it is just some screws, and some of it's an entire hand, right? It's just all this random bits and pieces of the machine, just dumping them all out in Ishan's cabin. But the thing that comes aboard here, I think, is that the camera sees as some very small piece. She takes it out, looks at it, puts it back in her pocket. So that's for me. I'll be holding on to this one. Don't worry about it. I will simply say this is all I found in the box before we had to let it go. And just kind of gives a little self-satisfied smirk as they sneak back out of Sean's cabin.
What is Pocket's reaction when the thing that she pocketed starts moving?
I think curiosity, right? I think there's a very easy way to play this where it's oh my gosh, it's so scary, I'm freaked out, right? But I think that she's still young and curious enough about this type of thing to be just so fascinated. How could a thing that looks so non-magical, surely, they've seen magical things before, but a thing that looks so non-magical, just like a little, hinge on a piece of metal, how does it move by itself? How could it be doing that? And so I think once we see that happen, Pocket spends even more time in their kind of hideaway spot behind the boxes in the cabins, just like watching it. Just, how is this happening? I don't understand. I want to see it. What's happening?
I think Pockets might have seen something similar in some of the like candlelight projection magic that Anne does sometimes.
That's fair. I think she makes that connection, but I don't think she's going to ask Anne about it yet. Right? Like, if we're doing a bunch more of this game, I'd be like, heck yeah. But, I'll do that in a further scene. But I just want to be like, yes, that would be a thing. Not right now, though. Right now, she's just like, what the heck is happening?
Great. Okay, so we have about 25 minutes left. I don't know that we have another full round of scenes time-wise, but how are people feeling, and what would we like to do to sort of start thinking about wrapping this chapter?
I mean, we can do the call at
We
least,
have
probably.
the call, yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
totally. Totally.
That'd be a good place to start.
So, return to the Sea Wing after each island and call the chorus. Does anyone want to choose one of these calls?
The color of the sea.
Perfect.
I like this. Aesthetically, at least.
Yeah, that's great.
I think I don't know if other people want to give input here, but I think, especially with it being thunder, I love the image of like a red sea almost and thunder blazing above, and it's not even rain, it's hail.
Oh yeah. I'm thinking of, when you say Red Sea as well, I'm thinking of like terracotta, like pottery clay, like when you're digging and the water and the clay are like mixed together and you get that like orangey red, like ochre kind of color.
Yes, exactly.
More than like a blood red or anything. And it's like there are hints of like the rust that we saw on the machine in the last story, like that color is there suggested as well, I think.
I love the idea of like this hole to the underground. I don't remember what the whole place of the underground was called, but like it's eroding even, and it like causes that iron.
Yeah, it's
kind
like
of
falling in. Yeah, like slopping in, and like, oh, that's so good.
It's almost viscous as you get closer to the edge of the mouth.
God, and that's why the boats can't deal with it, right? Like they're for sailing seas, not mud.
Yes.
Oh, it's so good.
I know that the mouth also connects to the Sea of Salt, right? So it could even be like really, really salty mud, right? Particularly salty mud, which also can like.
Oh, just salt banks?
Yeah.
Yeah, that like crystalline structure.
Yeah, like it's like sharp and salt like really eats away at the wood, like
yeah.
It's like
delightful.
Does the Sea Wing start coming apart here? Is it being like torn by this?
Ooh, maybe a little bit.
Can this be the song of the Stormwing too? As the response, I know that this is still the call.
Yeah, no, please, yeah, no, go for it.
But I think like we get, if this was a movie, we get the cinematic parallel of what happened to the Stormwing and what is happening to the Sea Wing, kind of. And that's just destruction, right? That is like bits torn to bits, and not by something that is trying to tear to bits. There's no kraken lurking in the waters.
Right.
It's just like, yeah.
There's no malice. There's no thought. It's just the reality of nature here is this.
I'm very happy with that.
Yeah. Let's get final shots of each of our characters. Like, I think we see Asham like full speed, like on all fours now, like pounding towards the cabin to like where he knows Pockets has deposited the machine parts.
I think the final shot of Scully is, I don't know what the boats are named, but what's the lowest part on the boat?
Blood.
like with the underside of like where they store all the cargo and stuff.
In the
Like in the-
hold?
The hole.
In the hold, yeah, it's Scully in the hold, cowered in the current corner into the fetal position, and just waiting.
Oh no, buddy.
And I don't think there's anybody down there with him. I don't think he's like a particularly as a member of the crew that people are like, like, oh, I feel bad for him,
Yeah. There.
Right, that's just the financier. That's the annoying rich guy we have to
Yeah,
write. Like,
he's the guy you have to deal with. Yeah.
right.
I have an idea for Anne's. It
Mhm.
kind of depends on you if you're okay with it. But I think my idea for Anne's final scene is she is in um Ishan's cabin with
Uh-huh.
with Olive. Olive is standing next to the door with her saber pulled out, waiting for someone to go through the door.
Oh my
And
god.
Anne is holding her candle and and chanting some sort of spell in the machine language. And the
Mhm.
pieces of the machine that are lying on the ground are reassembling themselves.
Amazing. If if this is too much, like feel free to say, but in my mind now it's like the coat of Olive falls away to reveal that like solder metal of Ocean like under there. It's like this is who Ocean
Yes!
became. Is like from the admiral to the
Yes!
captain.
Ooh.
Very. That's extremely rad. And
I love the way that also comes full circle. Is very nice. It's very satisfying in a way that's like the storyteller part of me loves.
I think the final shot of Pockets is kind of the part that they have is also trying very hard to get back to the other parts and reassemble.
Mhm.
And we see her just like outside of the cabin and like around the corner, having kind of heard that shit is going down in a real way, right? And wrestling with this piece to try to keep it for herself.
I really like the idea of this piece being the only part that isn't recovered.
Mhm.
It's very strong to me.
Yes.
Super good. And it's like we get we go from huddled Scully and up to Pockets. Pockets sees Ishan like rushing towards the door, and the door opens, and we get the final like thunderclap as that door opens, and Ishan runs into the room and just snap to black on that final thunder cut there.
Yes.
That's so good.
That's the good stuff.
When are they gonna make a movie of Fall of Magic?
They should. Oh boy,
Oh,
should they?
Magic is such a good game.
So good.
Honestly, like both of these games together would have made such a good movie.
Oh yeah, it's amazing. That's exactly the stuff I like to see.
Awesome.
I'm still very much here for the Ishan heel turn moment. That's very
That
good.
was so good. He was such a jolly little dude when you introduced him, and then
Uh-huh.
Like, actually, he's the worst.
it's like I know what palace cats like normally look like, and it's like that very mad, angry kind of thing. And I was like, I want to do the turn into that palace cat.
I want to become that. But not
when you first introduced Palace Cat, I misheard it as like palace,
Palace,
like
yeah, totally.
like a cat from a palace.
That's also
Like,
fitting. That's also
yeah.
fitting in a way.
It
Like a
is.
Sphinx cat or something. Yeah, totally. Awesome. So at the end of Fall of Magic, there is a section in the rules, the reflection section, that is kind of decompression, and I think it'd be a good idea to do that because it gets us out of the game, although we've kind of already started it naturally. But it's when we're done with play, make some space for casual conversation and reflection on the story we have created together. Some topics you might want to discuss include a moment you enjoyed, appreciation of another player, a surprise, an epilogue for your character, what challenged you, what you might try differently, or an emotion or memory the game evoked. I just want to say, like, personally, thank you all so much. These stories were so cool.
So
I
great.
have not played the Song of the Machine before because I just couldn't imagine what it looked like, and playing with y'all was like, whoa, oh my god, like the imagery of the under deep, whatever it's called, deep way, is like so strange compared to the top side of the map, and yeah, y'all just like got so into it, and it was like, oh, amazing, yes, this is the thing, this is the thing, this is it, this is
Yeah.
storytelling, baby.
It was very cool. The moment I really enjoyed was like 10 minutes ago when you turned Olive into Ocean. I was like, fuck yes. Um, I had not expected that, and it was brilliant.
It's so strong.
Yeah.
Alyssa trans rights, and she's right.
Yeah.
Right.
Honestly, I what I'm really happy about it is that I wasn't sure if we would like tie in the Song of the Machine game to this game at the
Yeah.
beginning, but like I'm so glad that I guess through Anne and through that introduction of the machine parts, like we found a way to kind of come full circle, which I am
Mhm.
really happy with.
Yeah,
Really
it's
good.
super cool to see like two stories exploring these like very different times in the life of Anne and the Machine and Olive.
I wasn't sure about playing Anne twice. I was like, I would really like to, but isn't it a bit cheap? Shouldn't I just make a new character? I'm very glad I did anyway.
Hey, it's our game. We can be as cheap as we want. We can be as self-serving as we want. And
Fair enough.
It was not those things. It was just Anne is a good friend, and it was very nice to get to spend some more time with her. For sure.
I also at the end of this game, I just like a small epilogue for Estalia. I don't think anybody cares anymore about the Sea Wing or the Storm Wing.
God,
You
right?
know?
It just gets written off. It's in an expense book somewhere. Like 2 boats went down.
Literally
Oh.
everybody that cared enough to like look into it was on the boat to go find the Storm Wing. You know?
Oh.
Just like last week, all of the markets were talking about the Stormwing. This week, no mention at all.
No
Yeah.
mention. Yeah, it's something new.
I mean, last
so
week was
good.
interesting when you have, a financier who is in financial trouble and an important banker guy who's, paying close attention to this situation. And you're like, oh, there must be something happening with this ship. And then they're all gone. There's no reason to talk about it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, and like, okay, just because there's a weird magical student that goes on the boat, that's interesting for a little bit. But once the weird magic student is gone, it's not like it's not like there isn't an academy full of more weird magic.
Yeah,
Right,
exactly.
totally, yeah.
Not all of them are made of stone, but I mean,
But they're here doing good stuff. So, like, that's fine. That's easy to pay attention to.
Amazing. Okay. Is there anything else before we wrap up?
I think so. I had a lot of fun.
Yeah,
No,
this
I don't
was so
think so.
great. Thank you all so
I'm really
much.
I'm still really happy I got to play a character named Yeet. That was on my bucket list.
Oh,
Yeah, for
another
sure.
moment I
Yeah.
really enjoyed was bringing Yeet into this
Yes.
game.
realizing where it was going, where it was like I learned a little something, and it was like yes.
Let's see.
Okay. I just want to shout out also Russ Kalman, who made Full of Magic, currently has a game on Kickstarter, City of Winter, which is kind of a sequel, new story in the Full of Magic universe. It's a stunningly beautiful black scroll with like white ink. It's a game about family and immigration and tradition. And how those things change each other. If you go on Kickstarter and search City of Winter, you should be able to find it. Or you can check out Russ at this his studio, which is called Heart of the Deernicorn. They make some incredible games, including BFF and the print dialect, I know, which although Russ didn't make, like that's also an incredible game. I want to say thank you again, Ali, Alice, Zoe. Thank you all so much for joining me. Did you want to do a introduction?
I really appreciate all of you. That was one of the more fun experiences I've had. So
awesome.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. This was a delight. I was very nervous, but this was absolutely great. If
Yeah.
you don't mind me doing an outro, I can just say, like, yes, hi, I was and am and will be Alice. She, they. I, if you want to, sometimes I also stream on Twitch at Gay Alice. I stream art on Wednesdays.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Anyone else?
I don't really have any socials for anyone to follow, but I'm Zoe, she, her, and this was awesome. Thanks, everyone.
Thank
And
you.
also thanks to everybody who got to put this whole stream together. It's
Oh
a
my god. Yeah.
72-hour stream. It's a deal.
Yeah. I want to shout out Adam again. Thank you so much for doing our tech support. But again, I'm just going to mention Cole, Adam, Chris, Adela, Devin, Kai, Zero, Alice, Clouds, everyone at Roll Plus Bond who just makes such a super, super cool community. It's great if you are watching and aren't in that Discord, you should come join us and tell cool stories, because everyone there is good people, and we get to do these cool streamings like every year, but also we had one in the summer, so there's opportunities to use games for cool causes.
And I mean, you could like join the server. We're just playing games all the time.
Just playing games all the time. Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. And once again, please check out narf.org, or you can donate at donate.rollplusbond.com. Consider, if you don't have a huge number of funds available, please consider that long-term donations, like small amounts over your lifetime, add up so much. So please don't worry if you can't contribute a large sum all at once. Please consider making reparations and donations a part of your long-term activism and contribution. Please take care of yourselves, take care of each other. Let's be dangerous together. Let's do cool things. Thank you so much for joining us. Be gay, do crimes. Enjoy the rest of the stream. Please stick around for the next 20 hours. And thank you all so much. This has been full of magic.